Previously on the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast.
Very much missing the 12th Doctor and Bill at the moment. So I had 3 12th Doctor and Bill books to choose from. I didn't pick Plague City because we had just recently finished a Jonathan Morris novel. And I didn't pick Diamond Dogs because that plot sounded too similar to another book we read about mining in the rings of Saturn. So I went with The Shining Man by Cavan Scott.
Ooh!
So I'm looking forward to it, and it has a creepy cover. Yeah, Shining Man will be our pick for February.
Cool. I've not read any Cavan Scott, but I've met him, and he's lovely. Really nice and really kind. Yeah. And he's from Bristol as well.
And now our story continues.
To the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. This is Matt in Minnesota.
Chris in South London.
Chris, happy February.
Yes, indeed. Happy February one and all.
It's the Gallifrey month.
It is, and you're going to be joining the great people of Gallifrey 1.
I am, yeah. It'll be my, I think, 5th time going. I'd love to be able to attend annually, but it's probably not in the cards. But, yeah, excited. So last month we had talked about our thoughts about the new series up through the finale, which the Battle of Ranskor Av Kolos, I think. I think I have that one.
The Klingon one. The Klingon-y sounding one, yeah, that one.
The Battle of Kronos.
Yes.
And then we've had the Doctor Who New Year's Day special, Resolution.
Yes.
Which is, unfortunately, I think, the only Doctor Who we'll be getting this year.
Yes, the 2019 Doctor Who TV in its entirety. Yes, most likely. Unless they do something sneaky and just kind of drop us a Christmas special or something. But yeah, it seems likely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Though they have started filming the new series somewhere that lets people wear shorts. So not England at the moment. It's somewhere warm. Yeah.
What did you think of the episode?
Resolution, I thought it was rather good. It was an interesting way to do a Dalek story. I think maybe it might have been nice for us not to have been spoilt that there was going to be a Dalek in it, but still, there was a wonderful sense of menace throughout. I thought the guest cast were good. Yeah, I thought it was really solid. Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's necessarily my favourite episode of the season, but if it's not my favourite, it's my second favourite.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me, probably top 2 or 3. And I'm hoping Series 12 is, more of the same, please. I think that would be great. I thought the actor who played the archaeologist who got taken over by the Dalek to be really effective and chilling. She was fantastic.
Yeah, and she's more known for comedy over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
First thing I've seen her in.
Yeah, she's in a brilliant sitcom called Fresh Meat. We watched her go, it's the Fresh Meat Girl. And she's really, really good. She's got brilliant comic timing. And as Bradley Walsh has shown, comic timing can easily translate to very good dramatic timing. I mean, it might well be that she's done a lot of more dramatic stuff. It's just I know her primary for a comedy.
I'm looking up her name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, like Charlotte something or other. But anyways, she was solid, and the writing just had me on the edge of my seat. And
Charlotte Ritchie.
Yes. I was going to say Charlotte Rampling. I was like, no, not Charlotte Rampling. But yeah, the writing I thought was really, really good. Sort of to the extent that my other half sort of, was that a Chibnall episode? Yeah. Well, he's been saving that one up, hasn't he?
The plot was very similar to a BBC Books quick read called I'm a Dalek, as well as a third Doctor story in the Tales of Terror collection called The Monster in the Woods, where both stories have to do with a Dalek who's in disrepair, either taking over or, in the third Doctor case, kind of like the local youth rabble to help build it back together. So I don't think Chibnall was like directly influenced by either of those, but when you think about, how many different ways can you tell a Dalek story, this is one area that they hadn't really gone into before that the books had covered. So it was cool to see that kind of visualized on TV.
Yeah.
I love the episode, but I would have made one change or one little tweak to the story just to make it perfect, and that would have been I would have allowed the Dalek radio signal to get out at the end, and then have the Doctor kind of notice, and she says, "Oh no, I wish I could have stopped it," and looks on the console and she says, "Oh well, the Dalek fleet is about 140 light years away," and then kind of pause and think and realize that, oh, I already dealt with that years ago.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that would have been good. Also, possibly Ryan's dad could have died. Possibly.
Oh, yeah. Into the supernova.
Yeah, but I don't think... Frustratingly, we're a show that can kill off Grace now, but we don't seem to be able to put anybody else in peril. Possibly. But, yeah.
No, we have to wait a whole year, so...
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, at least we're waiting on the back of a good one.
And during that year, we'll have all sorts of other things to read or listen to. So in addition to everything Big Finish has planned this year, and they've got a 20th anniversary celebration this summer for Doctor Who. But Scratchman has been recently published and are written by Tom Baker, and our suspicions kind of proved correct that it was a Tom Baker with James Goss effort.
Yeah, Tom Baker's been doing a lot of media stuff. He was the guest on Radio 2's breakfast show on a recent Saturday morning. I didn't listen. I suspect that James Goss wasn't on it. He was being interviewed by Graham Norton, no less, on the radio. And he was like, yeah, interesting. And he got a big interview with Doctor Who magazine, and I can assure you that not everyone who's made a Doctor Who written fiction debut recently has been interviewed by Doctor Who magazine.
I heard he did the audio for the book as well, and that there was a signing at Forbidden Planet recently too.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's been lots of other events as well that I haven't noticed. But yeah, it's good. And he also gave a birthday message because he recently celebrated 85 years. Yeah, Tom Baker has been everywhere in January.
We've heard rumors, and it's finally happening. The last two unnovelized Target books are finally coming out, so we're going to be getting Resurrection of the Daleks and Revelation of the Daleks being novelized by Eric Sayward. These will be full-length novels, and then I think it was also announced that there will be a cut-down, more Target-sized version similar to what they did with City of Death the following year. So that'll be cool to finally have all 160 or so original series stories in book form.
Yes.
I've also heard that Sayward was working on a graphic novel featuring the further adventures of Lytton.
Oh, no! What?
I don't know that anyone in fandoms requested that, but...
No!
There you go.
No. I mean, Lytton's okay. He's not that interesting.
Yeah. And then a couple of other quick book news pieces. The next volume from Panini has been announced in their DWM comic reprint series. It's due out in April, and it's called The Clockwise War. It's the 28th volume that they've put out, and this will feature the final 12th Doctor adventure by Scott Gray and John Ross, and they're also going to include classic tales from the 1st, 4th, and 5th Doctors from earlier issues of DWM and the Doctor Who yearbooks. So those are all getting reprinted.
Cool. Okay.
I still kind of want them to reprint the comics from Doctor Who Adventures. There was a one-off Adventures that was recently published that was all 13th Doctor focused, and it had a bunch of kind of cool-looking stickers in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Final piece of news. Last year, so in 2018, there were 4 audio-only exclusive novels released. So these are put out by BBC Books and are separate from what Big Finish is doing. So last year it was Paul Mars's The Thing from the Sea, as well as a war trilogy by Justin Richards. So if the schedule kind of follows on from last year, we can expect 4 more releases in that line this year. The first 3 of which have been announced. So coming out this month is the Elysian Blade by Who Killed Kennedy author David Bishop, featuring the second Doctor, Victoria and Jamie, read by Fraser Hines. And then The Winged Coven by Paul Mars, which continues his Nest Cottage Chronicles with the fourth Doctor, Mrs. Wibsey and Mike Yates. And then just announced The Scent of Blood by Andy Lane, which will be an 8th Doctor exclusive book. Special thanks to listener James Hawkins for letting us know about that, and that's coming out in August.
Do we know what companion crew the 8th Doctor will have?
Not yet, no. So it's hard to say if it'll be standalone or EDA continuity or Big Finish. Or
it won't be Grace, because Fox seemingly are still not letting anybody use Grace. But,
I thought she fell off a building. Oh, different Grace. So that's all the book news coming up. So let's move on to show and tell. Chris, what do you have for us this month?
Show and tell. I was going to actually do the Doctor Who fortune biscuit thing. It was this thing that the Doctor Who social media accounts were doing, where you could just, it was randomly selecting a mixture of fortune biscuits shaped like custard creams, and it came with the message "Heal thyself," which is a quote from the 8th Doctor in Night of the Doctor, and was also quite appropriate because I was quite ill at the time. But I'm not going to go for that one. I am going to go for the interview that New to Who did with Christopher H. Bidmead, which was fantastic, and some interesting new facts, at least new to me, and I think new to the New to Who guys, that Christopher shared. Very interesting. It's very much worth your time, as is New to Who generally, but that in particular was a fascinating interview.
Huh. I haven't listened to that one yet, but it's in my queue, so that's cool.
Yes.
Huh.
So, how about yourself?
My show and tell topic is conventions. So I'll be talking about one that happened last month and one that's happening this month. So last month was Console Room. It was unseasonably warm that weekend in Minnesota in January, so it was nice that attendees weren't immediately frozen upon exiting the plane. I attended a lot of different panels, several of which listeners like Jeff Elston, Bill Evenson, and Michael Rogers were on. I got to meet Katie Manning. She was delightful. She was very excited to go through the dealer's room and would share stories, pointing out different merchandise as she'd encounter it. And she'd be like, "Oh, I remember that. It was rubbish," or, or, "Oh, I never got paid for my likeness to be used on this thing." It was kind of funny to hear all that. The dealer's room had a crafts and handmade goods sections, and she was super excited to find a kind of a unique yarn dealer there. So I think she either knits or crochets. She was super excited about finding all the yarn. Neve McIntosh was great. One of the evenings I got to have kind of an extended conversation with her in the hotel bar. We talked about everything under the sun except for Doctor Who, which I think she appreciated that. She had mentioned she had only seen the first episode of Jodie Whittaker's season so far, so she hasn't really formed much of an opinion on it yet. This was the weekend that some of the John Pertwee adverts from New Zealand had resurfaced online, and before I saw what they were, I had asked if they were the Splink PSAs recorded in the 70s, and Neve kind of had a freak out about Splink because she had totally forgotten about it, and she was like, "How does an American know what Splink was?" And so kind of a nostalgic moment there, which plays into our book selection this month. One of the chapters is called Splink.
Oh yes, I forgot.
And then there's a nature reserve kind of right by the hotel. It's really just marshlands that surround the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport, but it's pretty cool. It was, of course, closed due to the recent government shutdown in the United States, but that didn't stop Neve and Katie from exploring the trails and finding some wildlife. Neve encountered a really large beaver that she thought was a bear cub at first. That was pretty funny.
Do they have a lot of bear cubs in Minnesota?
No, not a whole lot, no.
No.
Yeah.
No. Fair enough.
Farther north.
Yes.
So that was Console Room. It was great, and next year they're looking to get a doctor again. I know which one they're pursuing, but I can't say at this time.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I will be at Gallifrey 1 the weekend of February 15th through 17th. Unfortunately, I didn't get badge ribbons made in time. They were surprisingly expensive, and I have to save my spending money for more Doctor Who books, so apologies there. But if you want to meet me, I will be on a panel. It's called the Podcaster's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's currently scheduled, subject to change, but Friday evening at 5 p.m. So check the Gallifrey schedule for the most recent updates. But if any listeners want to say hi, I will be on that panel, so look out for me.
Cool. And I'm going to be lurking for the first weekend of March, either at the London Comic Con or at the Who's at the Playhouse in Epsom, because William Russell is apparently going to be at both events on the same day, signing stuff. Yeah, so I'm probably more likely to be at the Epsom one, because that's quite close to where I live and doesn't involve going into central London. And Carol Ann Ford is at the Epsom one as well. I'll put something up on the Facebook and possibly on the Twitters as well to sort of say which one of them I'll be at. Because as much as anything else, I want to get William Russell to sign Mild Curiosities once I get my hands on a physical copy.
Yeah, that would be great. Do you know if they're going to be published by then?
Hopefully.
If not, you could have him sign like a frontispiece or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one way or another, I am going to get him to sign something that will be in my book. Or my copy of a book which I am publishing with many other people. It's not my book. But anyway.
Very cool.
Right.
So this month we are reading The Shining Man by Cavan Scott, which is a 12th Doctor and Bill book that was published in 2017. This is Cavan Scott's first solo Doctor Who novel. He had written several audios, books, and comics with his writing partner Mark Wright, and he's been writing actively since 2000. Mm-hmm. He's written for Iris Wildtime, The Fourth and Ninth Doctor, The Shalka Doctor, Sarah Jane Adventures on Audio. He has a story in the Missy Chronicles, and he co-created The Forge with Mark Wright, which get a reference in this book. They're also known as Department C4, and they're kind of a darker version of Torchwood, more known for fighting vampires.
And predate Torchwood as well in the mythos, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, created around the same time too, kind of 19th century.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Chronologically, yes. And also, rather brilliantly, he's written a series of novels for Skylanders using the pseudonym of Onk Beakman. I thought I'd just share that. I just found that hilarious.
I didn't know that. I know he's written some Choose Your Own Adventures for Star Wars, which is what I have known him from outside of Big Finish.
And also, I think he's doing some new stuff with Han Solo he's kind of been alluding to on Twitter recently. So, yeah. And also, he's really nice. If ever you get the chance to speak to him at a convention or something, he's lovely. I had a lovely conversation with him about writing at a Big Finish day. This
is listed as book number 60, according to the TARDIS Wiki in the new series books, but that is incorrect. It is at least book 61 because the wiki places Diamond Dogs after this, but it takes place before because Bill references her recent trip to the Rings of Saturn in the book. So this should be at least book number 61. So.
Right.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's begin.
The book opens in a town called Huckensale, which is near Manchester, in October of 2017. And we're introduced to a single mother named Sammy Holland and her 10-year-old son Noah, her daughter Maisie, and her mom, so their grandmother Hillary. Noah had been skipping school claiming to be hunting a shining man, which are... How do you describe the shining men?
So this kind of urban legend thing that's been lots of rumours about on the internet and quite a few sightings. So very much like the Killer Clowns of a couple of years ago.
Or the Slender Man stuff. They kind of look like either the Silent or the Monks, but with glowing eyes and hair. They're kind of depicted on the cover of the book. So there's all these rumors and sightings of shining men springing up around town. And Noah had skipped school to kind of go out and look for them. And a shining man finds him and jumps out from a bush with his eyes kind of emblazoned like torches.
So time passes, so Noah survives this experience, and there's a news story about a shining man having been caught in Stockport, which is relatively close to Manchester, so where all this is happening. And the shining man was trying to scare an 82-year-old. And there's speculation that this is possibly a fake shining man. And while Sammy's on the phone to a friend, she sees outside their house a shining man, his eyes lit up like bulbs. And as his smooth skin forms the mouth, light streams out, burning her. The friend rings back, and Noah answers, and his mother, Sammy, has disappeared.
And then, meanwhile, in the TARDIS, Bill and the Doctor are in flight when the TARDIS is hit by a storm from within. So there's like a whirlwind that forms in the console room, and books and the bookshelves go flying, and potted plants are going everywhere, and it starts hailing inside the TARDIS. And as Bill and the Doctor are kind of being pelted by these hail chunks, there's an unseen force that's dragging Bill across the floor. And it turns out that the Doctor was testing the telepathic abilities of a potted plant that was obsessed with football, which he calls Nigel. And he had temporarily lowered the TARDIS's defensive screens as part of this. So there was this whole sequence where the Doctor's hooking up this plant to the telepathic circuits.
Yeah, and also, isn't it here where he says that everything is slightly telepathic apart from squirrels?
Yeah.
And nobody knows why squirrels are telepathic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Bill is safe, and the Doctor sets the TARDIS back to trace the cause of this, but the screens have been lowered in the ship.
So whilst Sammy Holland is missing, her mum, Hilary, has taken charge of the family, and Noah, her grandson, sees a hallucination of Sammy, and he then sees a shining man wrap his legs round her and drag her through the floor. So Noah's gran, who's kind of blaming him for her daughter's disappearance, thinks that he's making this up. But Maisie, Noah's sister, finds a muddy footprint and believes that her brother actually saw their mum. And then they find what they think is an oak leaf, all this in Noah's bedroom. So the two of them decide to sneak into the woods. And as they kind of go deeper into the woods, they see two lights, which might be a shining man. Then whatever it is starts chasing them, and Macy gets ahead, but Noah trips, falling all the way.
And around about this point is where our dramatic reading for the month comes in. This is read by friend of the show, Mandy. Let's have a listen.
Charlotte Sadler was glad she'd packed her waterproof phone case. The rain was coming down hard, the trees creaking ominously in the wind. She was soaked. She was cold, but boy was she happy. This was brilliant. Talk about atmosphere. She couldn't have planned it better. Finding the right spot, she held the phone in front of her and adjusted the monopod so she was in shot. Checking that the night vision filter was on, she cleared her throat and hit record. "Welcome to Boggle Woods," Charlotte began in a stage whisper, a lapel mic clipped discreetly to her dark bomber jacket. "It is quite literally a dark and stormy night. No one in their right mind would be out here in these conditions, but hey, you're watching CryptoGal UK. What do you expect?" As introductions go, it was a bit corny, but she'd go with it for now. She could always edit something new. Keeping her eye on the camera, Charlotte took a tentative step forward, walking the path she'd scoped out earlier. "This is going to be my best video yet, I guarantee it. I'm in Shining Man country. Yes, you've seen the videos. You've seen the photos coming in from all over Britain, from all over the world. But nowhere have there been more sightings than here. Huckensall, near Manchester. This is ground zero, people, where it all began." She slipped, nearly losing her footing. She grabbed a branch, stopping herself from falling. That would play out well on screen, ramping up the tension. "Sorry about that. As you can see, it's a little slippy underfoot." She showed the camera the wet leaves on the floor. "And before you ask, I'm not talking about creeps in cosplay, but the real deal. Actual shining men, looming out of the dark. That was bordering on melodramatic, but her fans liked it when she went a bit hammer horror, the geekier ones at least. With the camera back on her face, she adjusted the head torch on her trademark beanie and wiped water from her eyes before continuing. I'm going to take you right into the heart of the wood. She made a show of glancing over her shoulder as if she heard something. She looked back to camera and gave her best nervous smile. I have to admit, I don't like it out here. It's a spooky place at the best of times, and as you can see by the weather, this definitely isn't the best of times. But that's fine. I know you're all with me in spirit, so let's go. Charlotte tapped the screen, flipping the camera forward to record the path ahead. Speaking in hushed tones, she brought the viewers up to date with the Shining Man phenomenon, recommending her other videos if they wanted to find out more. She'd add links later in the edit. After a while, she fell silent, the camera recording her progress. Most of this would get cut, but she had to keep the camera running just in case. If something was going to happen, she hoped it would be soon. While all this would make a great vlog, the rain was already seeping through her jacket. She couldn't remember the last time she'd been so cold. Charlotte stopped. What was that? She asked the phone, panning the camera around. There had been a sound up ahead, a weird electric chattering. Quiet at first, but soon joined by a wheezing, grinding bellow that rose to a crescendo. She'd never heard anything like it. She broke into a run, charging towards the noise. There was a light as well, a pulsing glowing that flashed in time with the raucous growl, on and off, on and off, sending shadows skittering through the trees. She skidded into a small clearing just as the light and sound show came to an abrupt conclusion, with a tremulous, thundering thump. The wood was silent again. The only sound the patter of the rain that fell on the large box that hadn't been there this afternoon when she'd explored Huckensaw for filming locations. It was tall, roughly the height of a telephone box, and made of wood, painted dark blue. White light streamed from windows mounted at eye level. Charlotte peeked in, but couldn't see anything through the frosted glass. Stepping back, she circled the box, sweeping her phone up and down so the camera could take in the square panels beneath the windows. Okay, guys, this is bizarre, she whispered. I don't know where this box has come from, or even what it is. It certainly wasn't here earlier today. She pitched the camera up to make out words that were printed white on black above the windows. Police public call box, whatever that is. Some kind of mobile HQ? Seems a little pokey. She reached out, brushing her fingers against the wood, only to snatch them away. It's vibrating. Like an electric current was running through it. What kind of wood can be electrified? There was a set of doors with a handle. Well, she said, summoning up the courage. Only way to find out what's inside. She yanked at the handle. It wouldn't budge. Locked, she told the camera. But there's a smaller handle here. She read the words printed on a white panel for the benefit of her viewers. Pull to open, police telephone, free for use of public. Well, I'm a member of the public, so... She pulled open the panel to reveal an old-fashioned telephone nestled in a small cupboard. Hey, said a voice inside the box. Charlotte sprang back as the door unlocked and was yanked open from within. Don't do that! It was a man in his 50s, with a heavily lined face, a crop of gray hair, and steel blue eyes. Who are you? Charlotte asked.
So that was the dramatic reading. Thanks, Mandy, for reading that this month.
Yeah, thank you.
We met Charlotte, who is a video blogger who was running in the woods, and she's known as CryptoGal UK, and has a vlog on cryptozoology, and she had heard the TARDIS materialize, and kind of a funny sequence where she's opening the little phone cupboard. And the doctor is very annoyed at this and opens the door and questions her, and at that point, he's trying to ignore all of her questions, and he notices that he's being recorded by her for her blog, and then they hear a scream in the woods.
So investigating this, the doctor, Bill and Charlotte meet Noah and Maisie, who tells them that they were chased by a Shining Man, and also explain about what's happened to their mum. Also, Noah has kind of done his ankle in as part of the fall, and Bill thinks she's seen something in the corner of her eye, which worries the doctor, because there's this kind of great line where he says, the things that you can see aren't what should scare you. The things that are just in the corner of your eye, that's what can kill you.
Taking a page from Moffat, I think, there.
Yes, yeah, I think somewhat, but if you're doing Capaldi, it's fine to kind of borrow from Moffat. So Charlotte then sees the lights of the Shining Man as they advance through them, skeletal arms outstretched, and she has this enormous feeling of dread inside of her.
And at this point, the grandmother, Hillary, she is in the woods looking for the grandkids, so she shouts out to them and breaking the Shining Men's focus, who then retreat back into the woods. So then initially, the grandmother, Hillary, she's really skeptical about the doctor, but he uses psychic paper to convince her that he's a cop investigating the disappearance of her daughter. So they head back to the family home, and the doctor's carrying Noah because of the sprained ankle.
So one thing I'll say about Hillary is I found her really convincing, because you kind of get the feeling that not just is she kind of skeptical about the doctor, she's skeptical about men in general. And the threat that they could pose to the family, and she reminds me of mothers I knew growing up. She just felt real, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would say the entire family felt really authentic, like how the daughter, being very disinterested and on her phone all the time, but each of the characters, it's more than just surface level, and you get some really good characterization around this entire family and how they're kind of caught up in these events.
Yeah, it didn't lurch into any kind of parody at all. They just felt like genuine people. But yeah, so they've all gone back to the family's house, and in Noah's room, the doctor notices that there's no evidence of the muddy footprint or the leaf, and so he then tries kind of licking the carpet, which leads to them getting chucked out by Hillary in no uncertain terms. And fair enough, I think, really.
Not only, but this predates Jodie Whittaker licking, the 13th Doctor licking the dirt in, was it It Takes You Away? I forget which episode she does that. But
yeah. Well, doesn't also Matt Smith lick the... I think, I'm fairly sure we've, this decade, seen doctors before Jodie on TV kind of licking strange things. but yeah, so Charlotte takes the Doctor and Bill to her somewhat messy camper van, Velma, which I imagine is a nod to Scooby-Doo. And also, I was rewatching some of the Bill episodes, and in Oxygen, the artificial intelligence of that is called Velma, which is a coincidence. But anyway, so Charlotte explains about all the worldwide sightings as well as people pretending to be Shining Men. But rather crucially, she says that Huckensall, the town that they're in, fictitious by the way, is where the first sighting was, sort of before there were sightings all over the world. She's got various kind of like TV feeds and stuff, and she notices a video from a nearby IT shop that features a Shining Man in the window.
The character of Charlotte, she seemed really convincing as well, like someone in her early 20s who is struggling to make ends meet, but is really interested in cryptozoology, so she's got a blog going, and you get a lot of detail around her life and kind of how she's ended up in this camper van, which I think helps give her a lot of depth too.
Yeah, definitely.
The Dr. Bill and Charlotte notice the Shining Man in this live feed, and Charlotte's like, oh, that's just down the street, so let's run and find it. So they leave the camper van and are running through the town streets, and it's kind of a cool sequence as they're having this conversation and running, and then they split up to go in search of the Shining Man, and I'm very glad that they kind of acknowledge the, should we be splitting up right about now? And I think that's where there's a direct reference to Mystery Inc., which is a recent Scooby-Doo series, which if you haven't seen it, it's 2 seasons long and it's fantastic. It's like one long story told over the course of a season in different chapters, so it's really cool.
Okay, like a Star Trek Discovery kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's illustrated to look like the art style that all the Benny Summerfield covers are, that kind of shadowy.
Ooh, sounds very good. I'll go and see what streaming services that's available on.
If you watch the first couple of chapters, I think you'll be hooked. It's pretty fun. So they split up, and Bill is grabbed by a Shining Man in a car park, and she knees him in the groin, and he kind of doubles over, and the doctor and Charlotte run over and see the lights of its eyes on the ground, and they identify it as it's just a guy dressed up as a shining man who's got a mask with torches for eyes. So, and he's not the only imposter. There's quite a few kind of shining men and imposters who've sprung up, and I think this ties into what was happening with like the clown sightings a couple years ago, where people were dressing up as clowns. There's a police officer, PC Schofield, who arrives, and she's kind of leading the investigation locally. So she's interrogating the doctor and trying to figure out what's going on. Charlotte tries to convince Bill and the doctor to stay. Instead, they travel forward by TARDIS to the next morning, so Bill doesn't get a chance to sleep.
Yeah, and there's a nice bit there about kind of time lag. So kind of like jet lag, that they don't have any chance to kind of to rest. And I thought that was really cool, because you don't often get a sense of that. Like when the TARDIS sort of lands at the start of a day, it might not necessarily have been just after everyone's woken up on the TARDIS itself. You'd have thought they would experience some form of jet lag type thing. So it's nice to see it.
The author did a good job of kind of acknowledging Bill's sexuality too, in that she mentioned that she liked Charlotte, but not in that way, because she was too boyish for Bill's tastes. But it was done in kind of a naturalistic way, where they weren't calling attention to, Bill's a lesbian sort of thing. It was just kind of unfolded in the narrative. That was appreciated.
So the Doctor and Bill break into a library, and he starts reading a Paddington book, which is a nod to Peter Capaldi's casting in the Paddington movies. And also in the other 12th Doctor book that we've read, he starts reading Paddington as well. So I do kind of hope that not every single 12th Doctor book features Paddington.
I had forgotten that reference.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they learn that the creatures are probably boggarts, from which the term bogeyman derives. And boggarts, they are a kind of like a real thing of mythology. The Doctor tells Bill that fairies are real, and basically these are ultra-terrestrials that predate humanity and take form of fairies, little green men and things like that, and they feed on fear.
And there's a nice tie-in to the Torchwood episode Small Worlds, where the Doctor talks about how some fairies make people choke on rose petals, which is I think that episode where Captain Jack flashes back to an attack that happened on a train he was on going through India, where the train was massacred by fairies.
Yeah, they then notice that Charlotte's posted a video in which she states that the Doctor's wiped her phone. However, she's backed up her footage due to the wonders of the cloud and will upload it in a day. Meanwhile, Charlotte is back in her camper van, Velma, but it's been surrounded by the Shining Men, and they start attacking. And so she runs, trying to escape them. And then she suddenly starts experiencing this warmth, like it's a summer's day. And remember, this is in October. So, October in Manchester doesn't often feel particularly summery.
So now we move to a building site, which is pretty near Noah and Maisie's home, where there's a couple of builders, one of which is named Rob, who are escorting the homeowner, Harold Martyr, around the site of his home. And Harold is kind of, disgruntled about how long all the remodeling work is taking, and he vanishes in a flash of light. And the builders are kind of like, You kind of shrug it off. They're like, we don't know where he went. And the Doctor and Bill stumble in a little while later after the police are called, because a couple hours later, Harold appears again, but he's aged about 50 years, so he looks like he's in his 90s, and he's in shock, and they can't really get any information out of him.
So P.C. Schofield, she's somewhat sceptical about this whole aging 50 years in 2 hours, until the Doctor produces a wallet that he nicked off Marta whilst Marta was being taken to the ambulance. And there's this great exchange where she sort of says, how can you nick a wallet off a body? And he says, well, it's a lot easier if they're really old or dead. Which, that's such a Capaldi line, isn't it? So Capaldi.
There was another one where I think the builders were asking him, what he was doing. And he goes, minding my own business. You should give it a try. Which, again, was such a Capaldi line.
Yeah. So even the wallet has been kind of cracked and aged. And there's also grooves in the concrete, like someone taken a knife to it. And it's been described as being almost like it's like a ring, and like a goblin's ring or an elf's ring, is how the Doctor is thinking of it. And he feels that it's what's left behind when a portal opens in the veil between our world, the visible, and the world of the fairies, the invisible. And also, when they leave the site, the Doctor says he's worried by how calm the builders have been, suggesting that what they've been seeing is kind of normal. And he also notes that in the portal, time must be moving differently, which would mean that Sammy, if she was taken by the fairies, has probably aged to death.
And the portal that's on the ground, there's a pool house extension being built, and so the Harold Marder was having a surface pool put in, and this is kind of this ring is at the bottom of the pool, which has of course been drained for the water. So part of this, and I'm not sure when this book came out relative to the series Stranger Things, but the whole
the Upside Down. I was definitely getting an Upside Down vibe. So I think Stranger Things came out in 2016.
Because that also had a pool being one of the portals where.
So it did. Yeah. If you're enjoying this, if you've enjoyed this book and you've not seen Stranger Things, you need to watch it.
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
So while this is going on, Maisie's the sister from the family has heard all of this, and the Doctor explains to her that he has a theory that her mom was taken by the Shining Man, and that she was using some form of astral projection to speak to Noah to try to get him to find her. Bill notices that Charlotte's camper van is gone, but she figures that she's moved to a new location and is kind of hiding out from her and the Doctor, because she, at this point, would have discovered that the Doctor had tried to erase her video recordings. The Doctor gets Noah to redraw the leaf, which has disappeared. They can no longer find it. And the Doctor says, this isn't an oak leaf, but it's a rowan leaf, and which might be crucial to the plot because rowan leaves have magical properties when it comes to like fairies and goblins and
such like.
Yeah. What was the term? The
ultra-terrestrials.
Ultra-terrestrials, yeah. Which it's kind of a cool concept because those types of things do occur. Doctor Who is very much based in science, or like a scientific understanding of reality, but it's kind of cool that there's this framework that it's almost like a parallel Earth that exists, that where those things can happen or live, and it's called the invisible. Like in Stranger Things, it would have been called the Upside Down, but it's kind of a cool way to have those types of creatures that we see pop up occasionally, like on Sarah Jane Adventures and Torchwood, but root them more so in the Doctor Who universe with that.
It's also not an original idea, as we'll go to later.
Oh yeah, that's right. So now once they've seen that, okay, they're looking for a rowan tree perhaps, the Doctor asks Bill to take Noah and Maisie, the two children, into the woods when it's daylight to try and find a rowan tree.
Whilst that's going on, the Doctor started digging in the garden of the building site, looking for a tree, and apparently Sammy Holland, so the missing mum, used to climb a tree in this very garden, but it was supposedly cut down, and it turns out that tree was where the swimming pool is now, and so the Doctor and the cops and the builders all kind of go into kind of like the dry pool, and then all hell breaks loose. This kind of tornado starts, and there's this voice yelling, "Where is the lost?" And then the Doctor and Schofield vanish, leaving her police partner disturbed and spouting apparent gibberish about fairies. And Schofield wakes up on this forest, and she's in the invisible, and the Doctor basically explains that both of them they're now in the fairies' back garden, and she says that she doesn't believe in fairies, and the Doctor says, well, the question is, do they believe in you? And then he lends her the sonic sunglasses to help her adjust to being in the invisible, and then the trees start to come alive, kind of ant-like, and so the Doctor and Schofield start to run.
Yeah, it was really a crazy sequence, that whole tornado thing, and the doctor's sonic screwdriver gets destroyed in the side of the swimming pool, so he's kind of sonicless except for his sunglasses. And the invisible, as we alluded to before, time runs differently there, but physically it's similar locations. So the woods are still there. The human settlements and stuff that would be in the real world aren't, though. So where there was the swimming pool, now it's just a field where a tree used to be.
So is that a little bit different from the Upside Down, but there are still parallels.
Mm-hmm. And then at this point, so Bill and Noah and Maisie are in Boggle Wood, and they start hearing things whispering in the woods, including Noah's nickname, which his mother, who's the woman who's missing that they're looking for, she would refer to Noah as Peanut. And so they start hearing Peanut being whispered in the woods. And then they follow the sound of those noises, and it takes them to a tree in the woods where they find a body in the hollow or the roots of the tree, and it's Sammy, their mother. And so they're reunited, but her face is all scrunched up and she's muttering things and she's shaking. She hasn't aged, so it's not quite like the others that were in the Invisible, but when she opens her eyes are shining beams of light out, similar to what the Shining Man do, which was a pretty effective cliffhanger, I thought.
Yeah, there's some very good cliffhanger contenders in this. So Schofield and Doctor, they're still being chased. Not only are they being chased by the trees, they're being chased by the boggarts themselves. So these kind of like weird fairy-like creatures. How would you describe them?
They're almost like a wolf. They can't fly because the fairies have wings.
Yeah,
but they're more like horned demons almost. I kind of was picturing the what were the creatures from Ghostbusters, the demon dogs, sort of.
Yeah, that sounds right. And because like they're hunting in packs as well. I did quite like the section, even though I cut it out from the synopsis, of from the boggarts' point of view. When they're doing
the hunting.
Yeah, I thought that was really quite cool. The first of three, and because you really get a sense even of them, of these kind of like these weird predator creatures. They stumble across a river, and the Doctor says that these things can't cross the river, kind of like vampires. So it's not due to magic powers, though. But it's kind of because there's piranhas in the water. And so the Doctor jumps and manages to kind of clear the river. But when Schofield tries, she kind of falls in and starts to feel bites as the kind of as the fish are trying to eat her. And the Doctor kind of like wades in and somewhat ineptly succeeds in rescuing her, whilst their extremities are being nibbled on. And when they get ashore, they realise that they're away from the pursuing pack of boggarts, but they're wearing dry clothes in golden thread. So the Doctor tries to reassure her by saying that he's been here before, but in a different body. And he also explains how you were saying that the terrain in the Invisible is the same as it is in the visible world, but before humanity arrived.
And so both the Doctor and Schofield are now dressed in like all gold because the river, in that kind of fairy tale way, once they dipped inside it there or into the waters, it turned everything there to gold. So clothes, PC Schofield's uniform, it's all like golden now.
Yeah.
So then back in the visible world, Bill and the kids have gotten back to the family home near the woods, and they're propping their mother Sammy back up, and she's behaving like a kind of a wounded, frightened animal and causing some sort of interference, so none of their phones are able to work, so they can't, say, call the police or get a phone signal. So she starts rambling about the need to free someone that Bill assumes to be one of the Shining Men.
Over in the Invisible, Doctor and Schofield are getting increasingly lost in the heat until he stumbles across Charlotte's camper van, which looks like it's been clawed. The inside has been shredded, which doesn't look good for Charlotte. And so the Doctor can hear music, and via the sonic sunglasses, Schofield can hear it too, and thinks it sounds rather jaunty.
Yeah, and we should mention too that the sonic sunglasses, they really help prevent like overstimulation of your senses in this world because everything's heightened. So like if Schofield wasn't wearing the sunglasses, like it would almost be like a cacophony and you wouldn't be able to hear or understand what was going on. So one of the reasons when Harold, who was having his pool built, when he returned back from the invisible, in addition to being super aged because of the time distortion, his mind was pretty much gone from just the constant overwhelming stimuli, which the sonic sunglasses are able to kind of cut down, so Schofield's able to function. And then at this point they're making their way through really sharp nettles, kind of thorn bushes, and the music keeps making her like more and more happy and giddy, and she wants to dance to it, almost like it's infecting her. And the doctor has to readjust the sonic sunglasses so that it better cancels out that noise. And the doctor and Schofield reach a clearing where the music is coming from, and she sees a bunch of Bogarts, as well as the kind of the flying fairies that we had seen earlier, and they're all kind of sat around in rapt attention watching a dance, which is being performed by Charlotte, who has been dancing to this music for the enjoyment of the invisible creatures for ages, possibly decades, where they've just magically have made her continue to dance. So she's wearing out, and you can tell like her shoes are like bare and like her feet are all bloody because she's been doing this forever.
The doctor sneaks back to the camper van and drives it into the Bogart gathering, and colliding with the harp that is kind of like the centerpiece of the music, kind of like stopping all of the music. And Charlotte collapses, and the Bogart is kind of circling them while Schofield tries to rescue her. And the doctor orders the Bogarts to back off, promising them that he will give them the lost. And Schofield had handed the glasses to Charlotte to stop her convulsing, but Schofield herself is starting to get confused, and she's starting to forget who the doctor is and where she is. Yeah, it's all quite shocking, yeah.
And that was a really effective scene because Charlotte's in pain and she's having seizures, and Schofield's looking down at her and she's thinking, well, I have these glasses, and if I take these glasses off, then I'm going to start getting affected by this. It's actually similar to what was in the Series 11 finale, where the Doctor and the companions had to wear those headsets on the planet or whatever to cut down the...
Yeah.
I just realized that. But so PC Schofield, she gives her glasses, and as she's doing it and as she's starting to lose her sense of self, she's repeating the oath she took as a police officer about protecting innocent life and that sort of thing. And I thought that was really effective, how she was kind of saying her mantra as she was like losing her humanity in this act of kindness.
I would say, going back to the season finale, I think it's done a lot more effectively here than it was in the Battle of something Klingon sounding.
Yeah, agreed. Back in the Visible, Sammy's still somewhat monosyllabic, and Sammy's leading them back, Bill and the family, across town to the building site, kind of with her eyes closed, and they almost get hit by a car along the way. The Doctor reappears, but unfortunately he had negotiated with the Bogarts in the Invisible to send back him, Charlotte, and PC Schofield back to the Visible. In return, he would help them find the lost, whoever that is that they're trying to find. However, the Doctor only appears by himself, and he realizes that the Bogarts have kept Charlotte and PC Schofield over on the Invisible side, so they haven't completely held up their end of the bargain yet. Bill and the two kids kind of explain what's been happening, and he realizes that Sammy's been taken over by one of the Shining Men, but that the original Shining Man is still in the building site and is somehow underneath the swimming pool. So he starts digging and breaking the surface of the pool with a pickaxe, and him and Bill start breaking up the floor, and they're trying to uncover what's been hidden underneath there.
Yeah, and he also says to the family that when she was little, Sammy must have bonded with the Bogart. So with the Shining Man, and it would have woken up recently to realise it had been buried, sort of due to all of the building work, and then the wind is starting up as the trapped Shining Man is scared, frightened out of its wits.
And the Doctor finally uncovers the Bogart, the Shining Man, which has been encased in pure iron chains, which is another thing that prevents, similar to the running water, iron disrupts the powers of the Bogarts. So the pool in the pool house is kind of full of these Shining Men, or what we find are echoes of the Shining Man, because it's really just, it was only ever this one Bogart that had crossed over the veil to the visible, but it had been enchained centuries ago and buried, and this tree sprung up around it, and it was kind of imprisoned in its roots. Another kind of allusion to the Witchfinders and the thing at the bottom of that tree. Kind of a flash forward. So they're able to unchain the Bogart, and rises up and is finally free. And then all the kind of the echoes of the Bogart, which were sent out from its mind, which had kind of been fractured, those all fade away. So it's just the one Bogart, and then all the ones on the other side of the veil now, who are in this same clearing. And the Doctor bargains with him and says, I'll release this Bogart from its trapped chains in return for Charlotte and P.C. Schofield being returned. So they get returned, and then the Bogart who's freed is able to de-age both of them, because so much time had passed on the other side.
With both of them de-aged, but not Harold Marter, who is left to experience his 90s. So P.C. Schofield and the family start to get back to their lives, and the Doctor and Bill sneak off, and even though he'd kind of lost the TARDIS key earlier on the other side of the veil, he can enter the TARDIS by clicking his fingers, which is somewhat useful. And that's where the story ends. So,
and presumably there's still 6 other TARDIS keys hidden around the console room, so he can, or one in the cubbyhole above the P, so he can use one of those.
Presumably.
And also the TARDIS will probably grow him another sonic screwdriver too.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the book.
Yeah. So what did you make of it?
I loved it. I thought this was a great book. I had a lot of fun reading it. I thought the characterization was spot on, both for the regulars, and I appreciated how well developed the supporting cast was. I'm a fan of Stranger Things, so having it kind of in a Doctor Who version of that was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. There was stuff for Bill to do. There was stuff for the Doctor to do. I was worried for like the first third of the book. I'm like, why aren't they mentioning Nardole? Where's he? What's going on? And then finally, like on page 93 or something, he's mentioned, and then the vault's mentioned, and it's like, okay. And you can tell that this is Bill's first trip with, she's still on her first trip with the Doctor, so this takes place before Knock Knock, so after Smile and after Thin Ice.
I think for a book that was written most likely before the TV series were aired, I think he captures Bill really well, and also their rapport. In the acknowledgements, Cavan Scott does say that he was shown some of the scripts, but he really does have the feel of them too, down pat, I reckon. So and as you say, it's nice that Nardole gets mentioned.
Do you want to talk about what earlier book this ties into?
Yeah, so this ties into the works of David McKenty. It's a sequel, or at least it's assumed to be a sequel to Autumn Mist, which I haven't read, but it also is, from what I understand, it's also got echoes of, I think, the First Frontier as well, and with the Tzun in there. But the Tzun, I'm not entirely sure whether that's true, but certainly, anyway, it's a sequel to Autumn Mist. Let's put it that way. Yeah, which I think is kind of cool. But you don't need to have read Autumn Mist or even to have heard of it to understand this, and you don't need to have seen Small Worlds either. But it is kind of cool that we've got this recurring foe of the fairy world. That's this thing that's almost that's exclusive to non-televised Doctor Who. I think that's kind of cool. It's been on spin-off TV as well as spin-off books. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and I feel like it really captured the tone and feel of season 10 as well. Both the Doctor's characterization and Bill, and it feels like there's so many nice touches that not all the authors would have thought to include. Like, the Doctor mentions to PC Schofield with the psychic paper that he's attached to Unit, and Bill's asking him what Unit is, and he kind of deflects it, which, in the event that Bill does ask that question again later in the series proper, doesn't create any sort of continuity issues or anything. It's little things like that are just really well done.
Yeah. Also, I think it's really well done as well, is how he builds in, obviously, his research into various bits of folklore. So you have references to what was a real incident in 2014, which is the Rossendale fairies. So this was also somewhere near Manchester. There was a university academic was out kind of walking and claimed to have taken photos of fairies in 2014. With his digital camera, and people were like, "Oh no, it's real." I'm thinking Photoshop, and the like.
I looked those up, and I think most people have settled on that they were just close-up midges, just insects.
Yeah, but anyhow. But yeah, there's lots of lovely little things like that where he just builds up this world, and because there's references as well to Victorian ghosts, because there were a few things in Victorian times where there were people pretending to be ghosts, which caused minor panics. Particularly if you're interested in this sort of thing, have a look at the Hammersmith ghost, which was this thing of this guy was pretending to be a ghost in Hammersmith and caused absolute mayhem, and it led to a very interesting murder case where a guy killed someone that he thought was a ghost and was in fact just a builder that was covered in white paint. It led to, is it a defence when you don't think you're actually shooting if you're killing someone, not even believing you're killing a human, what is that? Mm-hmm. Are you actually committing murder? Yeah, an interesting one for you.
You have to think about that one.
Yeah, go and have a read about that one later. It's weird.
This book feels like a really good Torchwood episode, or the fairy tale aspects felt like Series 5 of Matt Smith, or parts of the spin-off Class as well. Yeah. That Who adjacent sort of feeling. It was really well done.
Yeah. So, should we give it a mark?
Sure. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go on.
So the one scene that I would have added to this would have been like a scene of PC Schofield retiring with her being able to retire, since she had both her and the Doctor came back with solid gold clothing, Yeah. And it would have been great if the Doctor had dropped off his coat at the end to the family that went through so much and just said, have a nice life. But apart from that, which wasn't enough for me to mark it down like a full point or anything, maybe a 0.25. This is going to be my first ever 10 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I really, really loved it. And I was thinking, if he doesn't mention Nardole, this is getting a 9 out of 10. And then he did. And I was like, yes. But yeah, no, I love this. I could see where you might mark it down if you find continuity references annoying, but this was just the right amount for me, where it didn't bother me, and it was just kind of those nice touches to, for fans. Yeah, I can't find a whole lot to mark this one down for. It was, if you want a book that feels like an episode that could slot in between Thin Ice and Knock Knock, this does a pretty good job of that.
I think it's better than Knock Knock.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's a lot better than Knock Knock. Yeah. So I think for me, it's a 9. I don't think I'd quite go so far as to give it 10, but I can see why you did. But yeah, I just think it's just spot on in so many ways. Yeah, I think maybe if there'd been a bit more complexity to it, that might have helped me give it a 10. But still, it's because all the characters that you see are kind of convincingly drawn, and the one thing that did bug me actually is that so many of the brand names we see, apart from Greggs, the high street bakers, but so many of the brand names we see are fake. Like, there's a lot of time about the supermarket, was it Butterworth or something? And there's these Meadow phones that keep on getting mentioned. I just like, if you don't want to use the brand name, just sort of say, oh, smartphone or something. I just find it's something that always bugs me. If people are using very clearly fictitious brands, if you don't want to use the big supermarket chains in the UK, just say the supermarket. But I think it's possibly because obviously I'm in the UK. I'm just noticing these things. Like, no, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. But we can mention Greg's. I don't understand why.
And yeah, from my perspective, the smartphone references and stuff, I got those right. That those weren't real, but like
we don't have our own smartphones yet.
Wouldn't be able to say like Tesco versus Butterworth's. Like I couldn't tell you like which was real or, well, I know Tesco's real, but I wouldn't say that Butterworth's wasn't unless I probably lived there and knew that. But yeah, my first 10 out of 10. So it had to happen eventually.
Yeah, it did.
Cool.
But yeah, very good.
All right. Shall we move on to listener mail?
Yes, let's.
So you can email us at andwbcpodcast@gmail.com with any questions or comments you have. And who knows, we might read your email out on the podcast.
Have you had any emails from any kind of like Nigerian princes or anything? Or?
No, unfortunately not. On the Twitter side, hello to all of our new followers this month. Our guest last month, Sophie Isles, tweeted that she had a wonderful time chatting with us on the podcast, and she hopes she didn't sound too weird. I thought she was no weirder than you or I. She did fantastic. Twitter user Arachnus writes that they are excited to start collecting Doctor Who Choose Your Own Adventure books after learning about them, and have started with the Find Your Fate series from the 80s. Twitter user I Know the Zarbi also expressed interest in those.
Wow, that's a brilliant name. Wow, wonderful.
Neil Holden tweets that our show is a good podcast, while Adam Christophers tweets that our show is a great podcast.
Oh, cool.
Thank you both.
He's a co-author of Mild Curiosities.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and he's also been on the New York Times bestseller list with a Star Wars thing.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
I didn't know that. No, I'm even more.
Yes.
I'm even more chuffed. The Scald Wizard writes in with praise for our episode covering 10 Little Aliens. So thank you for that. Sarah writes that she's looking forward to the new Eric Sayward releases, which we first heard about from our friend of the show, Paul Scoons. And then Shag tweets that he's getting ready for Gallifrey 1 and has been reading along with us to The Shining Man. He says it was a fast read, accurately capturing the voice of the 12th Doctor and Bill, which is very impressive considering this was probably written before Bill's episodes aired. He asks whether 2017 was too late for the Slender Man fad or at the tail end, and asks if it wasn't creepy clowns in 2017. And I think it's a little bit of both. And as well as the Upside Down from Stranger Things thrown in. And then finally, Ian comments that they've not read Shining Man, but that Cavan Scott is a brilliant writer and says that the premise is an excellent, cool idea. So how about on the Facebook side?
Facebook. So we've heard from Jeff, who has wished us a great 2019, but he's apologised for not sending us feedback on a regular basis, but he's hoping to get back into the swing of it. Yeah, and we've had various likes and everything. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, not as many famous people as on Twitter. But yeah.
A reminder to our listeners to please leave our show a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. We appreciate the feedback, and it helps new listeners find us. So
yeah,
thanks.
Yes.
So, Chris, usually I have some sort of inkling as to what book you're going to be picking, or at least which Doctor. But this time I have no idea whatsoever. So what do you have in store for us for the month of March?
So, for March, I thought that we should visit an author who I've started to reevaluate during the course of our doing this podcast. As I'd read one book of theirs sort of back in the day, and wasn't particularly taken with it. But we've read a short story of theirs, and I thought, yeah, maybe we ought to give Paul Mars another try. So we're going to go and do Verdigris by Paul Mars, which is a Third Doctor novel.
Thank you for not picking Rags.
Well, I did think about Rags because Rags has been recommended to us as a good one, but also Rags is set on Dartmoor, and we've recently done a Dartmoor set one. So yeah, and Verdigris sounds kind of fun, and it's got Iris in it.
Ooh, very cool.
Yes.
Iris was mentioned in this month's story as well.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was mentioned in passing because the camper van was reminded the Doctor of kind of Iris's TARDIS. So yeah.
Katie Manning at Council Room came out, and for the first 10 minutes or so of one of her interviews, she was in character as Iris the entire time. So that was that was funny.
I thought that Paul Mars was just something I was never going to get, and then we read his Short Trips story, and I thought, let's do it. And also, it sounds fun, it sounds light, and sort of like March can still be kind of cold and everything, so I just thought, let's just do something nice, light and frothy and everything, so... Yeah.
Very cool. The only Paul Mars book that I've read has kind of been Doctor Who adjacent, and was called The Diary of a Doctor Who Addict. So it was like a semi-autobiographical work, I think. It's kind of set over like the winter of 1980 or whenever it was that Tom Baker regenerated into Peter Davison.
Yeah, 8081, yeah.
It was just kind of a fun sort of Doctor Who book. But I'm really looking forward to reading some of his work. So awesome.
Yeah, it should be some interesting narrative experimentation if the Scarlet Empress is anything to go by. But yeah, and also, I am somewhat older than I was when I read Scarlet Empress, and I've read a lot more. So maybe it was me. Yeah, maybe my 19-year-old self wasn't ready for it.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Until next month, I've been Matt in Minnesota.
Chris in South London. Happy reading.
Thank you for listening to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. Special thanks to George C. Music for use of their song, Doctor Who Theme, Swing Jazz Version. You can follow us on Twitter at ANDWBC Podcast and like us on Facebook. You can support the show by leaving us a rating and review on iTunes. You can contact the show by emailing your thoughts to andwbcpodcast@gmail.com. And until next month, happy reading. We're done in an hour and 25 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't have a 3-hour file to look at and just go, oh my gosh, where do I start?
No.
Cool. So say this one's called, I missed the title.
Verdigris.
Is it a...
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Past Doctor?
Yes, it's Past Doctor.
Okay. I'm looking at my shelf. I'm trying to find it. I mean, I have them all, so I just don't... Do you remember if it was earlier in the range or later?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, does this one have Iris's bus on the cover?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, April 2000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. I found it. Oh, yeah, it's a very trippy cover.
Yeah.
The 22 to Putney Common. Yep.
Yeah.
There it is. Cool. Well, I'm literally getting the dust off of it. Cool.
So,
Awesome.
it just sounds like fun.